Hello and welcome to Pixel Street Podcast, episode 95, getting closer and closer to 100. My name is Joel Campos, and as always, I am joined by the man who has 5 million eggs in Animal Crossing, Connor Kopp.
Honestly, it feels like it. If any more of those damn balloons come flying overhead, I think I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah, I know, and the thing is like, you can't not shoot it down, because what if it's
Right.
something you want?
What if it's like a good recipe or like, maybe it's some kind of gift or something? It's a struggle, and it stresses me out every time. I think I've broken like 4 slingshots since the event started, which is ridiculous.
That's ridiculous considering I don't think I've broken a single slingshot since I started playing the game.
Christ. Yeah, I think I'd broken 1, and that was it. I checked my time just the other day, and I think I've got 50 hours in the game so far.
Yeah,
My wife...
I noticed that when I added you yesterday. It said you had played 50 hours.
Yeah, I've got quite a bit in it. My wife, though, she is about to pass 100 already.
That's sounds about right for somebody who's technically not working right now.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, I guess we're all kind
sense.
of in a good place for video gaming.
Yeah. But anyway, this is the podcast where we get together and talk about video games. This week we're going to be talking about not only Animal Crossing. It'll have its time, I'm sure. Especially since John's not here to stop us.
Oh, right.
We're also going to be talking about some big news about The Last of Us 2 being delayed again, and problems with Borderlands 3 bonuses, and some other coronavirus stuff, and how it affects gaming, I guess.
It just never ends.
Yeah, but before we get to that, you can find the Pixel Street Podcast on most podcast platforms on Fridays, as well as on YouTube. You can now watch the show directly on our Facebook page by searching for Pixel Street Podcast over there. We enjoy having new people follow our content, so we're going to do another giveaway. I think once we hit either 100 followers or 100 episodes. We haven't entirely decided. But yeah, last time we gave away a copy of Modern Warfare. You know what? Maybe we should do the Modern Warfare 2 Remaster campaign.
Ooh, that wouldn't be a bad one.
That would be a good giveaway. We'll see. We'll keep you posted, but you can follow us on Twitter at Pixel Street Pod. That's where we run all of our giveaways. Yeah, with that, I guess let's get into the upcoming releases, which probably are not many.
Yeah, taking a look at it here, it's pretty light. I mean, you've got technically Resident Evil 3 Remastered launched already.
Yeah, all the reviews came out, right? Or it was supposed to come out April 3rd.
It was the 4th. I think is
April 4th?
Is when it was supposed to drop, yeah. But they, with everything going on, I think they kind of lifted the street date and just let retailers sell it on arrival.
They were releasing it on a Saturday?
Maybe you're right then. Maybe it was the 3rd. I don't know. I'll have to check it.
Yeah, but either way, that comes out. I know that there were a lot of mixed reviews on it, so I don't know if that's just because, Resident Evil 2 Remake was kind of groundbreaking in terms of the remastered version of it.
You're right.
And it's kind of the same formula for the new one.
Yeah, I've heard they've done a lot of cool stuff. I'm interested in that the multiplayer tie-in they've got, the Project Resistance.
I was watching a video and it looks pretty cool. It kind of seems like Dead by Daylight in a way. Right,
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is it's very like asynchronous multiplayer, but it seems like it does some cool stuff in terms of what the I suppose Big Bad can do in the game. Definitely worth checking out. I'm not much of a Resident Evil guy, to be honest with you, so kind of the wrong audience for it. But that multiplayer's got me intrigued.
Yeah, sorry. I was just looking up videos of it right now. But other than that, there's just like a bunch of Switch games on April 2nd, as is with every week. That new Coral Nintendo Switch Lite comes out tomorrow.
Honestly, I really dig it. I love anything in pink, so keep it coming.
Yeah, I'll talk about it in a little bit, but I ended up getting a Switch Lite this past weekend. But yeah, I don't know. I got what was available, I guess, at the time. I kind of wish I got the blue one, but it's still cool either way.
Yeah, I love the turquoise one personally. I think it's the best out of the 3 colors that they did. I got to be honest though, like my wife was doing some trading between my DIYs and her DIYs on Animal Crossing. So she had my Switch, which I have the Pokemon Switch Lite, and she has the Animal Crossing regular Switch. And even she was like, man, I love how much better this feels to play in handheld because it's so much lighter than the regular Switch.
Yeah,
And
it's crazy.
it's weird. It's
And
like I've
it's
played on
lighter.
hers and it's so heavy.
It's lighter and it feels way more durable
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it has no moving parts. So
Right. It just feels like a very stationary piece of plastic, I suppose.
yeah, yeah. Other than that, there's really nothing coming out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Final
More
Fantasy
quiet times for
VII
video
remake
games.
comes out in 8 days,
Ooh.
which I'm still hoping. I'm gonna wait for you to send me the message or text saying like, "Yo, GameStop is gonna be selling it on this day."
I think it's gonna happen. I'm crossing my fingers. I think they're gonna lift the street date for it, so we'll see. It's just what everybody's been doing with everything going on. Like, there's no point in having a solid street date when you can't have like launch events and stuff. So
Yeah, is the ideology of that also to be like, not to have everybody coming to the store at the same time to pick up the game?
absolutely, yeah, that's what we saw with Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing. They just kind of started lifting it secretly, but not really announcing it, so that way people that found out could get it straight away, and then people that weren't able to could just come in later, and it certainly worked.
Yeah, I hope that happens because I'll probably go get it if that's the case, rather than waiting for my Amazon pre-order to come on April 10th. But who knows?
God
We'll see
knows
what
we
happens.
all need something to do.
Yeah, since there's not many releases, let's just get into what we've been playing. And there's one game on here that we've both been playing, and it's really the only thing we're talking about in terms of what I played, and that is Animal Crossing. They have their big Bunny Day event. They can't say Easter because they want to be culturally appropriate. But yeah, there's a creepy ass bunny on everybody's island. A shit ton of eggs. Like we were kind of talking about earlier, there's eggs just constantly flying overhead. Well, it's a gift, but when you open it, it's always an egg. Like 9 out of 10 times, it's an egg.
Generally, yeah. Which is a little frustrating. I know I've got a friend who was getting annoyed because they were trying to catch some of the fish and stuff around the island, and they just keep fishing up eggs.
All eggs, yeah. Do you know anybody who set up their island on the southern hemisphere?
Yes, I do, but I don't know if the event's ongoing for them or not.
Yeah,
If that's your
because
next question.
so my buddy just started an island on the southern hemisphere yesterday, and we joined him during our lunch break today. And like we were fishing, and we weren't catching that much different stuff, but we were also catching eggs. But it didn't look like the event was going on his island. I don't know if it's because he had just started, so maybe it doesn't appear as if the event's going on because he's, on day 2 of the game.
It's certainly possible.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's annoying now that there's just constantly eggs everywhere, and like if you're trying to catch fish, you're only catching eggs.
And for those that don't know, the whole purpose of the eggs is you got like sky, ground, water, like all types of different eggs that you can
rock.
get. And you get a ton of DIYs throughout this event to make Bunny Day items, which is like Easter items. And Zipper, the rabbit, who's super creepy and weird, he tasks you with trying to create all of these DIYs by Bunny Day. And if you can, then you get some kind of prize or something. Nobody knows what it is right now, but everybody's in a mad rush to craft as much as they can.
Yeah. Do you know how many DIYs there are?
I don't, unfortunately. I was just talking to my wife about that. I wish there was like a guide or like a stamp book or something that they would have given us that tells us like how many there is.
Yeah, because that would suck if like, right now, say there's 10, and then like 3 days before the event ends, they add like 10 more.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, who knows? I mean, I'm going to try and do them all. We'll see how that goes. As of right now, it doesn't seem like I'm lacking many eggs. I'm sure there's...
Yeah, the cool thing about
probably...
it, too, is that it doesn't take any of your regular supplies, like wood and whatnot, to craft these items.
Yeah,
it's
only
literally
eggs.
just eggs.
Yeah, I agree. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I'm like kind of behind in the game overall. Like I just built the first expansion to my house, like in terms of adding an additional room. And that just happened today. Like it just finished this morning, so I'm kind of, I'd say close to a week behind what most people have been doing on their islands, but I'm still enjoying it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm curious. I wish John was here because I'd love to see what he's thinking now that he's played a little bit more of it. He actually jumped on my island the other day when we were I was having a bunch of people come over to sell turnips because turnips were selling for a stupid amount in my island. And I guess it kind of happened for everybody. The highest I'd seen, my island was selling for 533, which is one of the highest numbers I'd ever seen personally. And I guess there were some people that was reporting like 625.
Yeah, I think I read online that the highest they could sell for was 800.
That's insane. Absolutely insane.
Yeah. I was talking to my buddy from work earlier, and I was like, oh, did you buy turnips and sell them? He's like, yeah. I was like, what'd you sell them for? He's like, 120. I was like, dude, like, get on the internet, man.
Yeah, you messed up, bud.
You could have made so much money. Like, you're just rolling in it now.
Yeah, I think my bank account in the game is up to 11 million bells, which is an absurd amount. So,
I mean, but before you know it, it's going to be gone. If you don't buy any more turnips and sell them again.
That's the thing is, like, there's so many. The final house upgrade cost over 2 million to buy, so that's a huge chunk of change there. And then, like, all the infrastructure building and stuff like that. I mean, some of the bridges cost like $250,000 just to build a bridge, and then you've got inclines too, and yeah, it gets wild.
Yeah, one of the things that's getting annoying to me in the game is every time you catch a fish, you say the same thing in terms of like if you keep catching horse mackerels, it's gonna say the same exact dialogue every time, and like there's no way to skip it. It just comes up, you hit next line comes up, and then it goes away.
A lot of people, I'm surprised that people were unaware of this, but you might be unaware. But if you hold B during dialogue, it speeds it up.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it will change your life.
If you hold B during dialogue in Animal Crossing, it speeds it up.
Thank God.
I just told my girl. So we ended up buying a Switch Lite for my girlfriend over the weekend because we were fighting over the island. So yeah, we went out and bought a Switch Lite. It was a pain in the ass to get because nowhere has it. At least nowhere that's open. You know, GameStops are all closed still for the most part, but at the time they were all closed. I ended up going to Micro Center, said they had one in stock, reserved it for pickup, and got a confirmation email. So went and got a gray Switch Lite, and I already had another copy of Animal Crossing because it was on sale on Amazon, so I bought it for $50.
Nice.
Yeah, so she's got her own island now. The only downside is she had built her house like literally steps away from the airport.
Oh man.
So it like blocks if you go out of the airport, you got to like walk around her house. And so now I got to figure out how I can remove all of her shit.
Yeah, so you can you should be, well, actually, being that hers was on there, I don't know, she might have to jump back into that account on that Switch.
Yeah, that's what I haven't really done too much research.
Because you can move your own house. I think it's 30,000 bells once you get to that point.
Yeah, I just got to that point, I think, where he said you can move stuff. But, yeah, I don't know. I'll have to see. Because she also has, like, money and resources on that character. She wants to, like, dump off onto my guy, and then I send him to her new guy in the mail.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see what happens with all that. But, yeah, we ended up buying another Switch. Tom Nook won. Not only do I owe him money in fake life, but I owed him money in real life to buy another Switch.
Right. I mean, it's a great game though. Animal Crossing is so enjoyable, and it kind of came out at the perfect time too. Like everybody's got nothing to do except pour time into something, and Animal Crossing is a game you can certainly pour time into. So
yeah,
great stuff there.
I completely agree. All right, enough Animal Crossing for one day. I'm excited to talk about it next week with John and see where he's at with it.
Me too. So I am playing one other thing that I just got into a few days ago that I wouldn't mind chatting about. It's called Bless Unleashed. It is an MMO RPG on console. I think it's actually exclusively on Xbox right now, with plans to come to other platforms in the future. Have you checked it out at all?
No, I'm watching. If you're watching the podcast on YouTube or Facebook, you can see gameplay now. This is the first I've ever seen of it, but I've heard of it on Twitter and stuff before.
Yeah, it's real interesting. I have always been a big MMO fan, and I always like fall off really quickly just because I don't have as much time to sink into games as I used to. And Lord knows MMOs are a time sink and a half. But I kind of suggested this game to our friends group recently, and everybody was like, yeah, let's check it out. So we downloaded it. We've been poking around with it a little bit, and it's really cool. I wouldn't say that it's like the best game I've ever played, but it does enough very differently from other games to make it feel very fresh. Like, its combat system has a bit of like Devil May Cry DNA in it, which doesn't make like any sense until you play it. But all of your moves have like chain combos, and you can chain the combos. It's kind of like real action combat in different ways and forms. So like right bumper is like I play a mage. Right bumper is like my light attack. Right trigger is like my heavier attack. And depending on like the different chain combos, I think it's like 3 right bumper and then 3 right trigger does one of my combos, and then I can do like 3 right bumper, right trigger B, and that's another combo. And it's just really cool. It changes up the combat. It makes it feels very varied and more in control than most other MMOs, as they're not traditionally real action combat. And this isn't necessarily real action, but it's close enough. Story wise, not paying a lot of attention there. It's not really gripping me. I will say visually the game looks pretty good, except for its cutscenes. Its cutscenes are miserably ugly, which is a huge bummer. The UI is not that great either. I think that they could certainly do a little bit more. I've got to get in and kind of mess with some of the tooltips a little bit to see if maybe that could rectify that a bit. But yeah, overall it's not bad. The premise of the game is essentially that there's a bunch of different gods and whatnot. It's kind of the Skyrim thing, and you're sort of the chosen one. Go figure. Who would have guessed? And you are kind of thrust in the midst of a war on the mainland when the person who took you in is murdered very, very early on in the game. And it kind of kicks off this whole thing, and it's really just a vehicle for exploration more so than anything else. But yeah, it's super cool. I'm enjoying it so far.
Is this a free game?
Yeah, it's full free to play. There is like a paid premium, of course there always is for MMOs. But there's also a battle pass, and I did buy the battle pass, full disclaimer. It's $15, but I've already gotten a ton of value out of it, and I've been playing enough of it to justify $15. I mean, I feel like 15 is pretty fair for a game that I've already probably put 10, 15 hours in. So
yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really in the market to play an MMO right now. I got just too much other stuff going on.
Sure.
But from what I'm watching, it does seem cool. I like the whole combo system. During the battles.
Combo chain is probably the coolest aspect of the whole thing. There are different classes, different races, things like that. Like I said earlier, I'm a mage right now, but all of my buddies are playing it, and we've just been partying up. I think you'd have 5 in a party. And it's just super cool. It's got a ton of like world bosses and stuff you can chase after. Obviously quest chains, things like that. Yeah, if you get a chance, check it out. It is pretty fun. But it is, of course, another MMO, and those are times 6.5.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe I'll end up downloading it. But as of right now,
it's free to play.
Free to play. All right. We're just chugging along here, man.
Yeah. Well, it's, the Animal Crossing thing is something I feel like we're all going to be playing for a long time. Bless Unleashed, I haven't played enough to talk a ton about it. And without John here, we're just...
Yeah, without John here to talk about Overwatch.
It's true. It's absolutely true. I think there was some kind of Overwatch news recently, too, and we're probably going to hear about that when he comes back.
I think the only news is that all characters have googly eyes for April Fools. Did you see that?
He sent a little video, yeah, and I saw that. It's pretty good. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I agree. It's pretty funny. But yeah, let's get into the news. This first article is pretty heartbreaking, but Naughty Dog tweeted a message from us about the delay of The Last of Us Part 2. As you've likely just seen, the release of The Last of Us Part 2 has been delayed. We're sure this news is just as disappointing to you as it is to us. We wanted to reach out to all of you in our community to give you a little more information. The good news is we're nearly done with development of The Last of Us Part 2. We are in the midst of fixing our final bugs. However, even with us finishing the game, we were faced with the reality that due to logistics beyond our control, we couldn't launch The Last of Us Part 2 to our satisfaction. We want to make sure everyone gets to play The Last of Us Part 2 around the same time, ensuring that we're doing everything possible to preserve the best experience for everyone. This meant delaying the game until such a time where we can solve these logistic issues. We were bummed about this decision, but ultimately understood it's what's best and fair to all of our players. We're hoping that this won't be a long delay, but we'll update you as soon as we have new information to share. We wish you all, your families, and your friends the best of health. Thank you for being amazing fans and your continued support. Stay safe, Naughty Dog. So yeah, they delayed Last of Us Part 2 indefinitely because of the coronavirus, which honestly is probably the right move. I mean, it seems like they're getting pretty far ahead of it because it wasn't supposed to come out till end of May?
29th, I think. Yeah, very, very end of May. This to me feels like more of a supply chain issue than anything else. Obviously, getting a digital game out there is very easy in today's setting, but when you talk about so much of your community still being disc-based or prefer to be disc-based, especially with like collector's editions and stuff, you have to worry about how are factories affected, how are our item supply units affected with everything going on. And obviously we've seen companies like Amazon start wildly delaying orders over time to just focus on necessities for the time being. And while I understand it from a business standpoint, as a gamer, it certainly sucks. As you know, like we've said, we've got tons of time right now, and it certainly would be a great time to hunker down and play what I hope is one of the best games of this generation. But I guess it's a good thing overall. Maybe it gives a little more time to polish and finish up anything they wanted to add. So could be a good thing there too.
Yeah, I agree. The way this sounds is that it for sure is a supply issue in terms of physical release.
Yeah.
They don't want to, release the game digitally and say, when physical comes, it comes for the pre-orders. Because if they can't fulfill them, there's going to be a riot of people who can only play it physically or prefer to only play it physically, and can't play the game and are just getting spoiled on the game online and stuff because they pre-ordered physically and it's only out digitally or whatever.
You got to wonder how far they could really entertain pushing this back, though.
PS5 launch title.
Right. May was already kind of pushing the envelope, and, it seems like they're really trying to kill off the rest of their catalog before the PS5 drops.
Do you think it's safe to assume that Ghost of Tsushima is delayed as well?
I was just going to bring that up, that they're trying to get these games out ahead of the PS5, but obviously Ghost is super, super close too. And I would say it's probably safe to assume that it most likely gets delayed. But again, like if you're thinking logistically from a business standpoint, when the hell do you even delay it to? Because if you push it all the way back to holiday or anything like that, then all of a sudden you're contending on the current platform, which would be the PS5 at that point. Does that affect sales there? Does that affect, installation units, or is their backwards compatibility good enough? I don't know. There's just a lot of questions that kind of open up when you talk about getting this too close to the PS5. So I hope the delay is not too bad, but man, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Good on them for getting out on top of it though. Like, this is almost 2 months in advance.
Yeah, I'm just glad they were able to talk about it ahead of time, and we didn't find out a week before or something stupid like that. So we didn't find out via Jason Schreier article of GameStop employees saying that they have not even received copies. Right,
and it's not normal to not have them before a certain point. Yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. I'm sure we'll talk about this more and more as the weeks go on. You want to take this next one?
Yeah, sure. I could chat about this. So this one comes from Jason Schreier, Speak of the Devil, over on Kotaku. And the headline reads, Sources, despite huge sales, Borderlands 3 developers are getting stiffed on bonuses. The video game Borderlands 3 was a big sales success when it launched last fall, according to its publisher 2K, which described it as a billion-dollar global brand. That's why it was so shocking to employees at Gearbox, the developer of the game, when the studio's CEO, Randy Pitchford, told them yesterday that they would not receive the significant royalty bonuses they expected. Employees at the studio will get small bonus checks, but nothing close to the tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands that many had expected. This count is based on conversations with 6 people close to Gearbox, all speaking anonymously because they were not authorized to talk about what happened. Some said it was the crushing news that has upended their financial plans for the future. Gearbox, based in Frisco, Texas, offers its employees below-average salaries for the video game industry, according to more than a dozen current and former Gearbox staff who have spoken to Kotaku over the years. To make up for that, the studio offers something unique: profit sharing. Royalties from all the developers' games are split 60-40, with 60% going back into the company and its owners, while 40% is distributed to employees in the form of quarterly bonuses. The system has been in place since Gearbox's inception, and when the company has big hits, it can be lucrative. When 2012's massive Borderlands 2 came out, many Gearbox workers made enough money to buy houses, a fact that the studio often touted while recruiting new employees. So yeah, I'm not going to read the rest of this, but basically what had happened was, leading up to Borderlands 3, Randy Pitchford got out and said that they're going to be seeing massive bonus. He's promised some people tens of thousands of dollars, somewhere into six figures for some people, depending on their position within the project. And obviously, after the fact, this is not the story. They've been told basically that it is nowhere near, and there doesn't seem to be a clear answer as to why. Especially when publisher 2K said that it was one of the biggest selling games that they've ever dealt with. It makes you wonder what the hell is going on behind the scenes there. I did see in another story, this is related, but isn't listed here, that Randy Pitchford actually took home a $12 million bonus upon the launch of Borderlands 3, with it hitting some milestones. So clearly there was money coming forward from it, but it's not going where it was promised, and that's kind of the biggest problem here.
Yeah, this whole situation is real shitty. Because we all know that Borderlands 3 killed it, and like you said, like the article says, the whole bonus thing, and it seems like they're not getting what they were promised, which is real shifty. And Randy Pitchford's been shifty for years now,
forever,
just all around.
Yeah, and it's it continues and continues and continues, that it seems like every couple months there's some kind of new story with Gearbox or Pitchford that just doesn't paint a good light. And while I'm sure that there are a lot of people out there that want to take the most negative out of it that they can, even if you assume that maybe not the entire story is true, there's still a kernel of truth at the bottom of all of it. And with all these stories, it's got to be that Pitchford is one shifty fellow. Yeah,
for real. I saw a tweet in response to a tweet about this saying "Hey, so can we shoot Randy Pitchford into space yet?" I was like, that's pretty accurate. This dude's fucking out there right now. Everything that's come out about this guy in the past year and a half, 2 years, has just been ridiculous. And this is included in that now. He's just being real shifty.
It's just insane. I don't understand how this company still has merit at this point, much less Randy. If you're a publisher, obviously Gearbox is private at this point. They've been looking to go public, and I really don't think that plays well in Pitchford's direction. But with him being a private company, obviously Randy kind of has the full reign over everything. With 2K though having such an invested partnership with Gearbox, I mean, they've been partners forever at this point. You would assume they start putting some pressure on to just get him out of the spotlight and just get him away, because anytime he ever comes anywhere near the spotlight, it's not a good time.
Yeah. There's not really been any news where Randy Pitchford's done something good, or you know what I mean? It's always bad.
It's always bad. This just in, Randy Pitchford's still a shitlord.
This just in, Randy Pitchford visits another enchanted, or what? Not enchanted castle. What is the place called? Medieval Times.
Oh.
With this fucking flash drive, that weird thing. Yeah, I don't know.
Gosh.
Shifty business at Gearbox.
Yeah, it just sucks. It from the sounds of it, if you dig a little deeper, it sounds like their early estimates for development costs were way off the mark, and they ended up spending way more money than they anticipated. And due to their background deals with the publisher and everything, that had to be paid before any profits were taken. And it sounds like they just did not be as upfront with those numbers as they should have been in terms of the game's budget and how much it actually costs to make it. and they kind of dug themselves into a hole. And it sounds like the employees are the ones that are kind of paying for that hole at the end of it, which is real shitty, and I feel for those people.
Yeah, very unfortunate. Moving on, this article comes from Tom Phillips at Eurogamer. Sources say Nintendo Switch 2020 lineup is probably dominated by Mario games old and new. Nintendo Switch's first-party lineup for the rest of 2020 will be dominated by Mario games old and new to coincide with the original Super Mario Bros. 35th anniversary. That's according to Eurogame sources with knowledge of Nintendo's upcoming plans, who have corroborated a report posted by VGC. First, the report states Nintendo will release most of Super Mario's 35-year back catalog this year, remastered for Nintendo Switch. There's no detail on which games this includes, but the article includes a banner image of Mario Galaxy, perhaps intended to suggest the Wii Classic as one of these games. Eurogamer sources have indicated that Mario Galaxy is indeed one of the games being readied for a remaster alongside a couple of other 3D Mario favorites. Update, Gematsu has now confirmed these as Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine, which Eurogamer can corroborate. So yeah, I mean, for the 35th anniversary of Mario being a thing, it seems like they're going big, if this is all true.
God, I hope so. These are some of the best games in Nintendo's catalog to have ever existed, and it has been far, far too long since we've seen anything with any of these titles. Obviously, their remasters in the past have been wildly successful with like Wind Waker's HD remake, Twilight Princess's HD remake, just bringing it to better and newer hardware. And man, I'm incredibly excited, and I know John was too. This was probably his most exciting article of the week, and it's a bummer that he's not here to talk about it. But personally, the fact that we even have a chance to get an HD Super Mario Sunshine is just blowing my mind, and I'm incredibly excited.
Yeah, I'm excited because there's a lot of these games that I've never played. Like, I never played Sunshine,
Really?
never played any of the Galaxies. No, just
So I
because
didn't
at the
play
time.
Galaxies,
At the
but
time, I played GameCube at the time. That was my main console. But then later on in the cycle, I ended up getting an Xbox, and that's where I spent like all my time. And then for Wii, I never really played Wii all that much.
Yeah, you know, obviously the Wii was, and to a further extent the Wii U was a very different style of console, so I certainly respect that. I didn't play the Galaxy games myself, but I'd always heard incredible things about them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that said, Super Mario Sunshine is incredible. It's basically, I kind of consider 64, Sunshine, and Odyssey to be a trilogy, even though they're not connected in story. They're all very similar in terms of like gameplay and how they're laid out, and they're just all incredible. And Odyssey was so good. Obviously, Super Mario 64 is one of the all-time classics, and getting an HD remaster of that would be nuts alone. There was some word, I don't know if it was stated in the story or not, but there was some word that some of these games could be put in a collection, not just released one by one, but, you know, 2 or 3 games that you can buy together as a box set for the base price of $60, which would be friggin' awesome, and I hope they don't overcharge for this stuff.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Like, I could easily see Galaxy 1 and 2 being a bundle.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess time will tell. I'm sure we'll know in the coming months here. Because, like we were talking about last week, we really don't know what Nintendo's doing this year. After Animal Crossing, really. Yeah, do you want to take this next article here about the Xbox
Sure.
Series X?
So this one comes from Games Radar and is by Connor Sheridan. I guess that's appropriate. And the headline reads, Xbox Series X launch won't be held back for any individual game, Phil Spencer says. The Xbox Series X launch won't be delayed if individual games are pushed back because of coronavirus concerns, Xbox boss Phil Spencer has confirmed. Microsoft hasn't said much about the possibility of an Xbox Series X delay so far, sticking to the holiday 2020 launch window it's had for years, aside from a brief interlude where it was accidentally narrowed the date down to Thanksgiving. A console launch is made up of a lot of moving parts, though, and one of the most important is having the right set of launch games ready to go. In an interview with IGN, Spencer said Microsoft is unlikely to divert its plans. Even a tentpole like Halo Infinite isn't ready in time. if even. I guess there's a typo there. Yeah, so this is just reassuring news mostly. They go into a little bit more here, and it seems to be mostly pulled from that interview. So certainly go check it out if you're interested. But mostly just getting out to say, hey, hardware's still on its way. If there's not games there, there's not games there. This, I feel like, will be a very similar situation as to what we had with the Xbox One when it launched. As there were some game delays back then. I remember seeing it didn't have a very strong launch catalog. But yeah, just good to hear.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to know that it's still coming. I mean, obviously all this is with a grain of salt as well. I mean, we don't know where we're going to be in 6 months, say.
Right.
So it's very possible that the console could get delayed as well because of the coronavirus stuff. But as of right now, it sounds like they're still on track. So we'll see what happens.
Well, and I think also when you take into consideration how big backwards compatibility is now, as well as current compatibility, playing with the Xbox One brand of stuff, you really don't immediately need a huge launch catalog because people can just upgrade to play what they're already playing on better hardware at this point. It's much similar to a computer. So I think personally for me, this wasn't too much of a concern because again, all the stuff you have already will just be there. There's you don't have to wait for that big launch title to upgrade or something. You're just getting better hardware to keep doing what you're already doing. So,
granted, the idea of getting it and not having Halo on launch, that sounds awful.
Yeah, that would suck.
I'm looking forward to that game so much. So that does it for all of the news here. Let's just do some quick news here. I'll kind of see what you think. QuakeCon 2020 has been canceled due to COVID-19.
Not shocking at all.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, yeah. What do you expect?
Right.
I just people can't leave their house
everything.
Right now.
Yeah, I expect everything to be canceled for the foreseeable future, to be honest.
Death Stranding update adds photo mode to PS4.
This is cool. I think the best part about that game is how pretty it is, to be honest, and how cinematographic the entire experience is. Obviously, they added photo mode to the PC version, but a lot of people were wondering if it was going to hit consoles. And
is it out on PC already?
I don't think it is. I think the PC version's due to hit soon.
Okay.
While we hit the next couple of these, I'll check.
All right. Yeah, I don't think it is either, but I remember when they announced it, they announced photo mode would be on PC. And everybody's like, whoa, what about PS4? I did see that the game, I think it's on sale for $30 most places right now, including digitally. And you can get that collector's edition with the baby statue thing for $100,
Sweet.
Which I thought was interesting. But yeah, Minecraft Dungeons is delayed until May 26th. This is kind of a bummer to me because I think it looks pretty cool. Like everything I'm seeing makes people think that it's fun.
All the gameplay I've seen for this game has been awesome so far, and I want this so bad. It just looks freaking awesome.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to come out at the end of May or April, and now it's delayed till the end of May. But
yeah, it sounds about right. Which, again, not a big shocker. Everything seems to be getting delayed or canceled or whatever with everything. Just a quick touchback on Death Stranding. The PC edition launches June 2nd, so still a few months out.
All right. Moving on, Modern Warfare 2 Remastered release for the campaign and month-long PlayStation exclusive. This sucks.
Yeah, I'm not very happy about this news. Obviously we saw the leaks a lot leading up to this, and it was no surprise whatsoever that they were remastering Modern Warfare 2's campaign, which just released on PlayStation, would have been the first, sorry. So yeah, yesterday is the time of this recording. And it is exclusive to PlayStation for an entire month and isn't available on PC or Xbox until the 30th, which is stupid. I hate exclusives, specifically timed exclusives. I think timed exclusives are almost worse than exclusives, personally, because it's just paying money to hold content back from people for really no reason.
Yeah, I'm fine with console exclusives or even timed console exclusives in terms of like Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's a time, we don't know for how long, or it's a year, I think, right? A year and a month or something.
Yeah, I think it's a year.
It's an exclusive for a year, but like the Control DLC being a timed exclusive for something that you've never played before, Like say you own the base game and then you find out the DLC is on PS4, but it's not on console for I think like 3 months on the Xbox as opposed to PS4.
And it obviously a lot of people like to go back to, oh well, Xbox had the Call of Duty exclusivity for a month, for years, for
Wasn't
the
it like
maps.
multiplayer maps?
Yeah, it was fucking multiplayer maps, man. Like, number one, who cares? Okay, not a huge deal. Still sucks. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And number two, like, that doesn't make it any better for it still to be happening. Like, it sucked then, it sucked now. It's gonna continue to suck when they do it next year. Like, it's just stupid, and I wish we'd stop.
Yep. Moving on. What is this? Ubisoft is giving away games to make quarantine suck less. Those are Connor's words.
Yes, that was me, and it's super cool. It literally is Ubisoft is currently doing some fundraising for different organizations to help with the COVID-19 stuff, and they are partnering with Twitch and some other people and all kinds of other things. Definitely check it out if you get a chance to. But they're kicking off a whole free event where they're giving away some games and going from March 31st to April 3rd. So here pretty soon it's over. But you can download Rayman Legends for free, which is the first one that they're giving away. And then over time they said that they're going to give away games like games from popular franchises, like Assassin's Creed, Just Dance, and more. So they've got a free event website you can go to check out and see what's currently free. But just keep an eye on it. Tons of stuff. They've also got a ton of game trials, so you can try stuff out. I know Ghost Recon Breakpoint's one of those, which is especially cool because their huge overhaul update just hit that game and changed a ton of stuff in it. So certainly worth checking out.
Yeah, it's all very cool stuff. It's cool to see all these companies kind of coming together and, helping out for people in terms of stuff like this, like giving away games for free, giving you something to do. And I know a lot of content creators have been doing that too. Like I know Kinda Funny made a bunch of Patreon stuff free to people who would normally have to pay like $5 a month or something for it. It's just cool to see it all around.
And I think from a business standpoint too, it's good marketing right now as well to kind of earn the good wealth or good well-being from everybody for doing cool things. But also it's a perfect time to get people interested in your stuff. So if you're a creator, definitely give it some consideration to help people out during this time, and hopefully they'll repay you in the future when we actually can start making money again.
Yeah. I think that is going to end the show. I don't want to do a 20 questions with only 2 of us here.
Yeah, I feel like the 20 questions kind of defeats the purpose. And I don't have anything... Is there any big goings-ons or anything that just happened? A whole lot of nothing, right?
Yeah, not really. Just it's all kind of dead right now, which makes sense because of the time we're in. I do at some point want to try and do a podcast from Animal Crossing.
That would be sweet. I'm 110%.
I saw Brian Altano posted a tweet. He made one of his rooms a podcast studio. So I was like, we should totally do that.
That would be so cool. You could use the voice chat app and stuff too. Oh man, I'm into it. Let's do it.
Yep. Well, that'll conclude episode 95 of the Pixel Street Podcast for Friday, April 3rd, 2020. Follow us on Twitter at Pixel Street Pod. Check us out on Facebook by searching for Pixel Street Podcast. You can find our podcast every Friday on most podcast platforms: SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify. That's the other one. Be sure to rate and review us on those platforms as well. It definitely helps out. My name is Joel Campos. You can find me on Twitter at Campos63. I've also been streaming a bunch over at mixer.com/Campos63. So be sure to check that out. Connor, where can we find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at TheRealBirch. That's Birch like the tree without the I, so BRCH. I'm also on Mixer under Birch, BRCH. Come hang out with me. I'd love to have you. Might do some streaming of Bless here pretty soon. I've been having an absolute blast with that. I don't know if it's something people want to see, but come check it out, hang out, and stay safe.
Stay safe. We'll be right back here next week for episode 96 of the Pixel Street Podcast.
See ya.